The mist which hangs before you offers you a choice, to pass through or to escape. Beyond it are stories that reveal the struggle for survival alongside war's complexity. This is a tale of both identity and betrayal, courage and desperation. You alone are left to discern what to believe as you pass through what we call the fog of war. Zahra Ahmed had 2 different numbers on her phone, one for the American base, the other for a Taliban commander. She sold the same information to both, but different versions. This was the price of survival. Living in Kabul's eastern Mikrorayon district, Zahra Ahmed was 28 years old, a mother of 2, and worked 10 hours daily as a translator at the American base. On the surface, an ordinary life, but reality was far from ordinary. Zahra's story began in 2001, when the Taliban fell. She was only 19 then, dreaming of becoming an English teacher. With the Americans' arrival, she had benefited from freedoms granted to women. She attended university, married, had children. But when her husband died in a bombing in 2009, everything changed. Zahra was left alone with 2 children and began working as a translator for the American Army to make ends meet. This decision would become the biggest mistake of her life. When she started working at Forward Operating Base Chapman, Zahra was naive and idealistic. She believed Americans were bringing democracy to her country, thought helping them was right. Commander Lieutenant Colonel Michael Stevens was impressed by Zahra's English skills. "You're not just a translator, Zahra. You're our eyes, our ears," he had told her. In the first months, Zahra took pride in these words. She talked to locals, gathered intelligence. She provided information about Taliban movements. She felt useful, but over time she realized Americans saw her only as a tool. For them, she was a replaceable local translator, not human. 6 months later, the first threat letter arrived. A paper slipped under her door read, "Zahra Ahmed, you are a traitor who helps invaders. If you don't quit this job, we will kill you and your children. You cannot escape Allah's wrath." Zahra couldn't sleep that night. She looked at her children and wondered what she should do. If she quit, how would she survive? If she didn't quit, their lives would be in danger. When she told Stevens about the situation the next day, the commander took an indifferent attitude. "Zahra, this is normal. Taliban tries to intimidate everyone. If we bow to every threat, we can't do our job." But it was easy for Stevens to talk. He would return to base. Zahra would stay here. When threats began increasing, Zahra became desperate. One evening, returning home, she noticed 2 Taliban militants following her. She ran home in fear and locked the door. That night, she made a difficult decision. She would contact the Taliban. The next day, Sunday, while shopping at Shuranal Market, she saw a man she knew, Rashid, said to be Mullah Omar's nephew, approaching her. "Sister Zahra, we don't want to kill you," Rashid had said, "but you must quit this job. Or you help us, then we'll protect you." Zahra's world collapsed at that moment. Now she had only 2 choices, die or become a double agent. Zahra found a third way. She would give information useful to both sides but not harmful. She told Americans about Taliban's old plans, informed Taliban about operations Americans already knew about. This balancing game seemed to work at first. Taliban left her alone. Americans continued trusting her, but over time the game became more complex. Stevens began giving her more sensitive tasks. "Zahra, Senator Williams is visiting next week. Taliban mustn't get word of this," he said. Zahra didn't give this information to Taliban, but did something else. She created false news that would cause them to change the senator's travel route. Taliban couldn't plan an attack, but Americans didn't suspect anything either. This way, she continued surviving by deceiving both sides. In March 2010, a new player joined the game. CIA agent Daniel Crawford was different from Stevens. Cold, calculating, and not trusting Zahra at all. When Crawford first saw Zahra, he looked at her suspiciously. "How much can we trust this woman, Stevens?" he asked. "Zahra is one of our best sources. We can trust her. Can someone reliable receive threats from Taliban? This woman might be playing double games." Crawford's suspicions were justified, but Stevens didn't want to admit it. Zahra was his success story. Crawford decided to test Zahra. He would give her false information and check if it reached Taliban. Crawford's test was simple. He gave Zahra information about a fake operation. He told her Americans were planning a major operation in Kandahar. This is very secret, Zahra. Nobody should know, Crawford said. Zahra understood this was a test. Crawford was testing her. If she gave this information to Taliban, she would be caught. Zahra made a clever move. She didn't give the information to Taliban, but did something else. She created fake news that Taliban's Kandahar leader was sick and gave this to Crawford. Agent Crawford, Taliban's Kandahar leader got sick. Maybe we can postpone the operation, she said. Crawford was impressed. Zahra had both understood she was being tested and made a countermove. While Zahra's affairs were getting complicated, a new power entered the game. Russian intelligence agents were also closely following developments in Afghanistan. They hadn't given up on the region since the Soviet withdrawal in 19... The person approaching Zahra was a Russian agent named Dmitry Volkov. He introduced himself as a businessman, but Zahra knew who he was. "Miss Zahra, we want to do business with you," Volkov said. "We need to learn when Americans will withdraw." Now Zahra had 3 clients: Americans, Taliban, and Russians. She gave different information to each, trying to satisfy all. This triple balance game was much more difficult and dangerous. Zahra's double game wasn't only affecting military forces. Life in her neighborhood was also becoming difficult. Her neighbors looked at her suspiciously. Some thought she was an American spy. Some believed she was a Taliban collaborator. In reality, both were right. Her elderly neighbor Bibi Gulnar openly showed hostility toward her. "You are a shameless woman, Zahra. You serve both Americans and Taliban. Allah will punish you." What could Zahra answer to these accusations? She couldn't tell the truth. "I only do translation work, nothing else," she would say, but nobody believed anymore. The most painful event happened at her children's school. Ahmad's teacher, Ustaz Mahmoud, expelled the child from class. "Your mother works with Americans. You cannot stay with Muslim children," the teacher said. Ahmad came home crying. "Mom, the teacher expelled me from school. Other children won't play with me either." Zahra felt her heart breaking. The things she did to protect her child were making him suffer more. Fatima was experiencing similar problems. Her girlfriends wouldn't talk to her, wouldn't include her in games. The child was beginning to collapse psychologically. Zahra started looking for alternative schools, but none would accept her children. Zahra's reputation had spread everywhere. Zahra's deceased husband's brother, Hamid, decided to intervene in the situation. Hamid was a traditional man and found his sister-in-law's behavior shameful. "Zahra, you will quit this job," Hamid said. "You're staining our family name." "Hamid, how will I feed my children? Are you giving me money? Get married, I'll find you a husband." "I don't want to. I can stand on my own feet." "Not this way. You're polluting family honor." Hamid began speaking threateningly. If Zahra didn't quit her job, he said he would take the children from her. This was the final blow for Zahra. Now she was under attack from all sides. Faced with increasing pressure, Zahra had to change her strategy. She now took on a more active role. She made a new offer to Crawford. "Agent Crawford, I can't just give you information. I can also conduct operations." "What do you mean?" "Taliban leaders trust me. I can double-cross them. I can disrupt their meetings." Crawford listened with interest. This was a very valuable offer. At the same time, she made a similar suggestion to Rashid. "Brother, I can't just report American operations. I can also trap them." Both sides approved this new role. Zahra was now not just a double agent, but also a double saboteur. Zahra's new role put her in a very difficult position. Crawford wanted her to trap Taliban leaders. Rashid wanted her to sabotage American operations. 2 missions came simultaneously. Crawford, Zahra, learn the location of Taliban's Kabul chief Abdul Rahman. We'll capture him. Rashid, sister, Americans will conduct an operation in Somali tomorrow morning. Warn our men. Zahra was in a dilemma. She had to carry out one of 2 missions. Whichever she chose, the other side would become suspicious. This time she applied a different tactic. Zahra found a way to carry out both missions, but without fully satisfying anyone. She gave Abdul Rahman's location to Crawford, but reported the wrong time. "He'll be there tomorrow evening," she said. But Abdul Rahman was there that morning. She also informed Rashid about the Somali operation, but gave the wrong place. "There will be an operation east of Somali," she said, but the operation would be in the west. When both operations failed, both sides blamed Zahra but couldn't be completely sure. Maybe the information was wrong. Maybe Zahra had been deceived. This uncertainty protected Zahra. Constantly lying, constantly acting was psychologically wearing Zahra down. She was beginning to forget who she even was. She stayed awake at nights, confused about which lies she told to whom. Once, while explaining Taliban tactics to Crawford, she mixed up what she was going to tell Rashid. Fortunately, Crawford didn't notice. Her children also noticed the change in their mother. Ahmed asked one day, "Mom, are you okay? You always stay awake." What could Zahra tell him? "I'm fine, son, I'm just working a lot," she would say. But in reality, she was very bad. She had lost her identity. Volkov was aware of Zahra's double game, but instead of exposing her, he decided to use her for his own purposes. "Ms. Zahra, I'm aware of your game," he told her one day, "but it's not a problem. We're playing the same game too." Zahra was surprised. "What do you mean?" "Let Americans and Taliban destroy each other. We'll fill the empty space. Your job is to weaken both." Volkov was suggesting a new strategy to her. Fuel the conflict, prevent peace. This was a dimension Zahra had never thought of. She was no longer just surviving. She was also changing the course of war. Zahra was now part of the big game. Not just a local double agent, but a toy of international powers. Volkov had shown her the big picture. There are 19 different countries in Afghanistan. Everyone is here for their own interests. You play for yourself too. This perspective gave Zahra power. She could now be not just a victim, but also a game maker. She began adding details that would increase Russian influence in the information she gave Crawford. In the news she gave Rashid, there were also elements that would corner Americans. Zahra was now playing three-dimensional chess. During this period, a new element emerged in Zahra's life. She met other female translators working at the American base. These women were also experiencing similar difficulties. Mariam was 35 years old and mother of 3. She was also receiving Taliban threats. Farida was 25 and her fiancé had left her. "We're all in the same boat," Mariam said. "Nobody understands us." The friendship she established with these women gave Zahra psychological support. At least she felt she wasn't alone. Mariam gave her important advice. "Zahra, you're taking too much risk. This game won't continue forever." Farida also added, "Do you have an escape plan? Because you should." This conversation made Zahra think, what would really be the end of this game? As she played double games, Zahra's income also increased. She was no longer just receiving translation fees, but also earning money from intelligence sales. Crawford was paying her $500 monthly. Rashid paid $300. Volkov paid €200. This was very high income by Afghanistan standards. With this money, Zahra could provide better life for her children. Private school, quality food, safe neighborhood, but at the same time, this money made her more dependent. If she quit this job now, how would she live? Economic dependency was beginning to suppress moral dilemmas. Ahmad and Fatima's psychological condition was getting worse. Ahmad was having nightmares at night, wetting the bed. Fatima was constantly crying, didn't want to be separated from her mother. Zahra thought about taking them to a psychologist, but nobody wanted to take this risk. Zahra's reputation had spread everywhere. One day, Ahmad asked his mother a very difficult question. "Mom, are you a bad person? Everyone says so." What could Zahra answer this question? "No, son, I'm trying to protect you," she could only say. "But why doesn't everyone love us?" This question pierced Zahra's heart. Everything she did to protect her children was harming them more. In October 2010, Fatima became seriously ill. High fever, vomiting, and diarrhea. She needed to be taken to a doctor. But which doctor could Zahra take her to? Most doctors in the city knew her and refused treatment. Finally, with Crawford's help, she had Fatima treated at the American base. American doctor Dr. Sarah Mills was very upset about the situation. "This child is experiencing serious stress," Dr. Mills said. "It's not enough. This lifestyle is killing the children." These words pierced Zahra like arrows. She was really risking her children's health. As a Muslim woman, Zahra was also questioning what her actions meant religiously. Lying was considered a sin in Islam. Moreover, betraying believers was an even greater sin. Mullah Abdullah, the neighborhood's elderly imam, warned her one day, "Daughter, you're going down the wrong path. Allah will punish you." "Respected imam, I'm just trying to support my family. Not this way. Earn halal money." "Where is halal money? How is halal money earned in this country?" The imam couldn't answer. because earning halal money in Afghanistan was very difficult. But Zahra's conscience wasn't at peace. She prayed at nights, asked Allah for forgiveness. Zahra's game no longer only concerned local Taliban. The Haqqani Network, a powerful Pakistan-based terrorist organization, became aware of the situation. Haqqani representative Jalaluddin was more dangerous than Rashid. This was felt when he first met with Zahra. "Sister Zahra, we're aware of your game," Jalaluddin said. "But it's not a problem, we're playing too." "What do you mean? You give us Americans' withdrawal plans, we take you to Pakistan. You'll be safe there." This offer was very appealing to Zahra. She could start a new life in Pakistan. But what did she need to do in return? In November 2010, Zahra understood the situation had reached a critical point. She was now playing too many games with too many sides. This balance was about to break. Crawford gave her his final mission. "Zahra, we need to learn Taliban's spring attack plans. This is vital for us." Rashid also brought a similar request. "Sister, learn Americans' exact withdrawal date. We'll make our plans based on this." Volkov's demand was different. "Miss Zahra, make them fight each other. Let there be a big conflict." Jalaluddin brought the most dangerous demand. "Zahra, trap the Americans. Let them suffer big losses." 4 different demands from 4 different sides. Which one would Zahra choose? Zahra thought for nights. Each choice would bring different results. If she fulfilled Crawford's request, Taliban would suffer big losses. If she met Rashid's demand, Americans would be harmed. If she implemented Volkov's plan, both sides would be damaged. If she did what Jalaluddin wanted, innocents would die. Zahra asked herself, "Who am I? What do I want? Which side do I want to stand on?" She needed to find answers to these questions. Before deciding, Zahra had a serious conversation with her children. "Ahmed, Fatima, I need to ask you something. Do you want to live in this country?" Ahmed was surprised. "Mom, where else would we go?" "I don't know, maybe Pakistan, maybe somewhere else." Fatima began crying. "I want to stay here, my friends are here." Ahmed was more mature. "Mom, if we're not safe here, let's go. But tell the truth, what's really happening?" How could Zahra tell her children the truth? "Very complicated business, son. You wouldn't understand. You don't want me to understand. But we're getting hurt too." These words helped Zahra make her final decision. Zahra made her final move. She wouldn't fully satisfy anyone, but wouldn't completely disappoint anyone either. She gave false information to Crawford. She told him about Taliban's spring plans, but wrong places and wrong times. She also lied to Rashid. She told him Americans' withdrawal date, but 6 months wrong. She gave Volkov information that would create conflict, but in a controlled way. She gave no information to Jalaluddin. She canceled meetings saying she was sick. This way she satisfied everyone a little, but didn't fully satisfy anyone. Zahra knew she could no longer stay in Afghanistan. She decided to take her children and escape to Pakistan. She would accept Jalaluddin's offer, but would also betray him. When she reached Pakistan, she would surrender herself to the American consulate. This plan was very risky, but she had no other choice. She somewhat explained the situation to her children. "We're going on a journey. It might take long." Ahmad understood. "We're not coming back, are we, Mom?" "I don't know, son. Maybe." November 6, 2010, Sunday night. Zahra slept in her home for the last time. The journey would begin the next morning. She looked at the belongings in her house. Each represented a memory: her husband's photo, children's toys, jewelry inherited from her mother. She would leave most behind. She could only take the most necessary items. She checked her phones until late hours. Messages came from Crawford, Rashid, Volkov. Everyone wanted something from her. She no longer answered any of them. On the morning of November 7, Jalaluddin's men came. Zahra and her children set off for Pakistan in the vehicle. During the journey, Zahra played one more double game. She deceived them too by giving false information to Jalaluddin's men. "Americans have a big operation in the border region," she said. "Be careful." This information was false but worried the men. They began acting more carefully. At the Pakistan border gate, the final surprise awaited. Both American agents and Taliban militants were there. Both sides wanted Zahra for different reasons. When Jalaluddin's men noticed the situation, they were surprised. How did this happen? Why is everyone here? Zahra made her final move. I informed you, this place wasn't safe. She tried to deceive the men with this lie. At the border gate there were 3 options. Go with Americans, safe but traitor label. Stay with Taliban, dangerous but appear loyal. Try to escape, uncertain but free. Zahra looked at her children. What was best for them? She made her final decision. She walked toward the American agents. I am Zahra Ahmed. I want to talk with you. But as Zahra walked toward the Americans, gunfire erupted. Someone had betrayed everyone. Taliban militants, American agents, and Pakistani border guards all began shooting. In the chaos, Zahra grabbed her children and ran toward a concrete barrier. Ahmad was crying, Fatima screaming. This was the consequence of playing too many games with too many people. Mom, what's happening? Ahmad shouted over the gunfire. Zahra realized her double dealing had finally caught up with everyone. All sides had been betrayed one too many times. As bullets flew overhead, Crawford's voice came through a megaphone. Zahra Ahmed, we know you've been working with everyone. Surrender now. Rashid was also shouting from behind Taliban positions. Sister, you betrayed us all. There's no escape. Volkov appeared from behind Pakistani forces. Miss Zahra, you played everyone, even us. Jalaluddin's men realized they had been used. She lied to us too. Zahra understood that her web of lies had finally collapsed completely. In the middle of the gunfight, Zahra made her ultimate decision. Not for any country or cause, but for her children. She stood up from behind the barrier, hands raised, children behind her. Stop shooting. I have information everyone wants. The gunfire gradually ceased. All sides were listening. I'll tell everything to whoever guarantees my children's safety. Nothing else matters. This wasn't about politics or ideology anymore. It was about a mother protecting her children. What happened to Zahra Ahmed that day at the Pakistan border? Different sources tell different stories. Some say she was taken to America and given a new identity. Others claim Taliban executed her as a traitor. Russian sources suggest she was recruited by their intelligence service. But the most reliable account comes from a Pakistani border guard who was there that day. He says Zahra negotiated the release of her children to relatives in Pakistan, then walked into the desert and disappeared. Ahmed and Fatima. They grew up in Pakistani refugee camps. Ahmed became a teacher, Fatima a nurse. They never spoke publicly about their mother. Zahra Ahmed's story isn't unique. In every modern conflict, there are people like her, caught between forces beyond their control, forced to make impossible choices to survive. Was she a hero who protected her family at all costs? Was she a traitor who betrayed everyone? Was she simply a victim of circumstances? Perhaps she was all of these things. Perhaps she was none of them. The truth is that war doesn't create heroes and villains. It creates survivors and casualties. Zahra was a survivor, until she wasn't. Her story reminds us that in the fog of war, the line between right and wrong disappears. All that remains is the human instinct to protect those we love. And sometimes, even that isn't enough. In war, everyone is both victim and perpetrator. Zahra Ahmed learned this truth too late. The question isn't whether she was right or wrong. The question is, what would you have done in her place?